Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
You need to do this. That's crazy.
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department, part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be a host today on Thursday, May 27th, 2021. And once again, in these Knowledge Seekers Workshop series, we are joined and honored to be with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute in learning more and sharing more knowledge amongst us as we are all knowledge seekers. We welcome you back to another session of what I would call beautiful knowledge. We learn from it a lot and we progress a lot with it. Last week we announced the signing of the agreement for one of the largest up to now manufacturing bases of the Keshe Foundation in China, some 17,000 square meters. Thank you to the team of Keshe Foundation in China, headed by Wang Lin and Chao and Xiaojin and what we call the whole team of the Keshe Foundation, which is now moving and partially has already moved to the position of the Jindenjian to set up the factory and the whole operation with it as a first base. As you heard, this factory is one of the 20 factories which the Keshe Foundation has received the support to build in China in the next few years. This is the beginning of, and as part of our operation is this place will be the space development technology in conjunction with the Chinese authorities that we bring China and Iran and the rest of the world on the same level in the space technology. We have another good news in a way for you that we start. Keshe Foundation Television has found a permanent position that they move into for the next couple of weeks, and the whole operation will have a permanent studio, as the Keshe Foundation has had to leave the Linz exhibition center as the government of Austria has taken over the whole center as a center for what we call injections and applications of the corona to control and test. So we are moving out of exhibition center. We have moved to a much more prestigious, much prestigious, but a permanent place for Keshe Foundation in Europe. This is a beautiful location where a lot of things, which makes it much easier, because where we were before, it was a lot of a struggle to get to. Now, this is much easier. There is a tram and there is a train and everything else possible to get to, which makes it easier for the people who just come especially to visit the center or the systems. For this reason, at this place where the television moves, we have an exhibition center, and with the agreement of what we have on the Keshe management, we are looking for knowledge seekers with a good knowledge of the Keshe Foundation technology and fluent in at least 2 to 3 languages to join the Keshe Foundation in this center. This center was what was our wish. We announced some times ago that it will be carried out from now on this way, where we have what we call application of the enhancement centers, that people can come for using it like every other sports center, and demonstration and what we call exhibitions of, and what we call store for selling products of the Keshe Foundation. We've been lucky to have our wishes in a way to come true in a beautiful way, where not only people can receive the benefits of the technology to learn and become like a teaching center, but it becomes what we call the Enhancement Health Center Space Technology. This place should be open in the next couple of weeks once the refurbishment is done, and the facilities will come the first center where we receive on the back of Iran, Arizona, the enhancement units. We use this as we wanted as an enhancement center, but within a large retail organization. Well, what we wanted it as a bringing the knowledge directly into public, as in what we said, like a shopping centers, huge shopping centers. This has given us a huge opportunity to bring the knowledge directly to the people where we become part of. It's very much as you go to a shopping center, you go to opticians, or you go to somewhere else for what you need. Now this is the way we wanted it. We brought the public in directly in touch, and as a retail shop where they get to know the technology, and the center of the health center becomes part of it. We thank for those people who work in the background for it, but we are looking for a number of people to employ who understand, can explain the enhancement units, and be able to be fluent in German, English, and possibly French or Chinese. And in that process, we welcome you. If you have the ability to do so, get in touch through the normal channels of Keshe Foundation. We need at least 3 to 5 people to man these facilities on a 6-day basis, as we are part of a very large, what we call retail store. And in a way, we bring the technology to public. This is good for us in a way. We introduce the technology not on the internet, but directly to the public. They can come, feel it, understand it. And with it, we put teaching sessions that people understand. They just don't buy a product, they understand the technology and carry on with it. As I said, I thank the whole of the Keshe Foundation team in the background who's made this, what we call, doable. And you will see in this exhibition center all the systems, the vertical, horizontal, and all the advanced technologies, which is part of the Keshe Foundation work. In the teaching last week, we made a very clear announcement that how we start showing you the combination of the use of the systems, how the air enhancement unit can be used in conjunction with what we call the vision enhancement units, in conjunction with what we call the environmental systems for field detection and field absorption. And today we try to expand on this in a different way. The knowledge and technology has to be on the basis of understanding of the totality. We have to now understand how we connect everything together and how we come to interact with all the knowledge in different way. In a way, we are bringing the different pieces of jigsaw to make different pictures, and then we open it up, and with the same pieces, we make another jigsaw to be completed. Last week, we explained the use of and how we use the air enhancement units in conjunction with the vision unit, in conjunction with what we call the butterfly. Today, we want to expand on this in the knowledge in a way that if we understand what these processes create, it will be very interesting for many of us to extend the knowledge to understand the technology. What is important is, as we said, we have the body of the man, and we have introduced systems like the air enhancement unit. We have introduced the systems like the vision unit. We have introduced a system like the butterfly. But what does it do? Many of you made the Gans waters. What's the purpose of totality of this? Our ultimate goal is one thing, and that is to elevate the son of the man, the soul of the man, where the sun shines, when the whole thing is created by it and through it. What is the purpose of all this work? Mankind has fed the physicality from the beginning of time, but mankind has never understood how to feed the soul of the man, the sun, the center, that in conjunction with its elevation, it will become in touch with the rest of the structure of the universe. One of the simple things which we have to understand is that every sun has a heartbeat. In the physical dimension of the man, we listen to the heartbeat of the man and we consider it as if the life exists within it. We got to understand that the soul of the man has a heartbeat too. How do we tune into it? How do we excite it? How do we create a condition for it to be able to expand beyond the boundary of the physicality? When we run, when we get excited with the beauty or the presence of anything, our heartbeat increases and we become more aware of. We are becoming more, in a way, intelligent, more giving. When we fall in love, when we see the lover, our heartbeat increases and we become more active, we become more energetic. But we have a reason for it. We have a lover. We have a condition to create that condition of increase in the beat, increase the expansion of the fields. Now mankind has to understand and find a way to measure the heartbeat of the soul of the man. But there is one point which man has to understand. Somewhere, in some work, in some condition, the heartbeat of the soul of the man has a direct effect on the heartbeat of the physicality of the man. They are in tandem. Otherwise, they don't exist. One of the reasons man dies in the dimension of physicality is when the heartbeat loses its tandem with the heartbeat of the soul of the man. As long as you can keep the two heartbeats connected, you can keep the soul and the soul of physicality of the man in working, in tuning, in operating with each other. So one of the main things for us to understand is understanding of the heartbeat of the soul. Man's knowledge has been up to now that we have understood the earth has a heartbeat. The scientists tell us that the sun has a heartbeat. So what about the son of the man? Within the center of the structure of the man, we call the soul of the man. Isn't the challenge for man to develop technologies that can measure that heartbeat, the heartbeat of the soul? And if we can find that heartbeat by using any of the structures we have in our hands, be it the environmental, be it your vision, be it your butterflies, be it your cup, should be able to interact, that with it we can create a condition to enhance the heartbeat of the soul of the man, that he falls in love, or it's excited that it can take over the dimension of the physicality of the man. As I said in the past teachings, this is our target. How for man to learn to get excited, to be able to bring energy levels that can allow the soul of the man the heartbeat of the soul of the man to get excited, that moves beyond the boundary of the physicality, but still is connected to the dimension of the soul of the physicality and the soul of the heartbeat of the body of the man within the heart of the man. In a way, is a big question for mankind. Is the heartbeat we hear is a combination of the heartbeat of the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man together, where we hear it in the dimension of the physical heartbeat of the man. And why the physicians of the time have not understood why is the reason that heartbeat changes. Is it the soul of the physicality, or is it the soul of the man which changes the heart? Or to what extent the two have interaction with each other, that they lead to the sound of the heartbeat of the man? Thus, the heartbeat of the earth has control over the heartbeat of the man. Thus, the construction of the physicality of the man in the gases of the amino acid, in conjunction with the heartbeat of the man, the heartbeat of the soul of the man, and the heartbeat of the planet, dictates the condition of the physicality of the man. Is this one of the reasons that man has different shape and color in different parts of this planet? Then it has to create manifestation of physicality, that what we look in different colors and races across this planet. But is the essence of the heartbeat of every soul on this planet more or less the same, or near enough the same, with different interactions with the heartbeat of the earth create different physicality? Some look Chinese, some look black, some look Africans from the South America and the rest. In a way, mankind has to understand the process of the heartbeat. How do we create it? And in that heartbeat, if we understand, then we can travel the span of the universe. Would there be a time when the knowledge of the man reaches to have the measure of the heartbeat of the Creator, to be able to travel the span of the universe? In so many ways, what is the process of the creation, and what is, if you understand with it, what we call as a heartbeat, the key to transmutation, transportation, and everything else that the man has been attached to. The most important thing for mankind and the rest of the creation is how that heartbeat is created. We can measure it, but if we do not understand the process of its creation, how can we replicate it? We cannot be the monkey see, monkey does, because each position, each condition has a different strength, what we call heartbeat. When we have a child, they say the heartbeat is 120 or whatever. As we get older, we are happy with the 50 and 60 and 100. Was too much. What changes that condition? Is it the process of the growth, or is it the process of the birth, or is it the process of adjustment to the new environment that needs a higher heartbeat? Or is it the time that we reduce the heartbeat of the physicality to be able to allow the heartbeat of the soul to take over, what we call at the point of separation or death? Then it will be easy for all of us in the coming time to measure the physical heartbeat, the heartbeat of the soul, and dictates the time of departure. As we know, the energies cannot be replaced, or we decide not to. In a way, we call it, at this moment of time, suicide. we decide to end the physicality. But in the dimension of the soul of man, there is no suicide. We decide where to transfer and how to transfer and interact with the heartbeat of the physicality, the environment, and the soul, that it manifests itself in a dimension and direction. If we understand how the heartbeat is created, then we understand the process of the creation. The heartbeat comes from the interaction of the giving and taking when it reaches its maximum and its minimum. When the body charges to its maximum, that body being the soul of the man, or the soul of physicality of the man, or the physicality of the man. And then at that point has to release its energy, that it goes back to the minimum, because it has reached its maximum. It's the point of the balance between the gravitational and magnetical, and where one reaches its maximum balance with the other. In a way, we learn a new process. We learn to create the tune between the gravitational and magnetical, that when one reaches the maximum of one, the other one gives up. And you go back to create the minimum of the other and the maximum of the other one. In so many ways, when mankind learns this minimum and maximum and the maximum charge, then we will be able to create and replicate the process in any dimension, as the heartbeat of the creator beats across the whole of the heartbeats of the created. This needs a deeper understanding of the technology of the creation, because this is where the knowledge is transferred to physicality and showing up a system we call the body of the man, or an animal, or another creatures of the creator in the universe. In so many ways, the tuning of the one to the other. We see this in so many ways. We could see this from the beginning in the first reactors we built. This is where we discovered the heartbeat. This is where we understood the maximum and the minimum, and the charge balance between the two has reached the position of the interaction. If you look at the shape of the heart, if you look at the shape of the physicality of the center of the earth, center of the sun, will give you a clear indication that the heartbeat is controllable or can be matched to. When we travel the span of the universe from Earth to the moon, we first have to discover the strength of the heartbeat of the sun or the moon, and then be able to travel in the environment of the sun to reach to the moon. Because there is one heartbeat inside the other. Then the complication comes in how we be able to understand this knowledge. On Earth, we call it the high tide and the low tide. In a way, is the measures of the interaction of the heartbeat of the moon and the heartbeat of the Earth, in conjunction with the fields of the heartbeat of the sun. This is the reason why, for the first time, we understand we have different high and lows in different positions and seasons, as our position in respect to the heartbeat of the sun changes. Then part of this heartbeat of the man, part of this what we call high tide and low tide, if you look at the overall, has something to do with the heartbeat of the creator. Because it has an effect on the heartbeat of the sun, the moon, and the earth, and the heartbeat of the man, and the heartbeat of the soul of the man. In the coming time, we will introduce these new technologies, that you can measure the heartbeat. You can decide where that balance point of turn will come. We have a very good example of it. Look at the heart of the man in the dimension of physicality of the man. The balance fields and the charge of the one to other, it twisted the heart so much that the field forces the heart to move. In a way, we convert the balance changes of the fields of the gravitational and magnetical in what the body pumps out as a blood and what body gets back in from the blood in the magnetic fields of it, releasing the charges to the heart, makes that change from dimension of energy to physical motion. If we can create the conditions in our reactors that instead of this heartbeat, physical motion of the heart will lead to the motion of your craft to another dimension, to where the other heartbeat is. Now you understand how in the future we will travel to the understanding what we call gravitational magnetic field balance, or the heartbeat of the universe. In the heart of the man, when these peaks of the giving and taking, what is given out and what comes back, the balance fields creates that motion of the heart, will lead to the motion of the physicality of the man, or can be transferred to transfer the what we call the soul of the man to a new dimension, an extension of the life anywhere in the universe. You do not need rocket propulsion. You do not need UFOs. You only have to understand the power of the interaction of the fields of the heartbeat of the totality. Then we understand mankind and the rest of the universal community has entered a new dimension of transportation and transmutation. How do we transmute? How we create gold out of a dust of a zinc? How do we create oxygen out of plutonium? We don't create fusion. We don't create fission. We create the heartbeat of the matter we need. In so many ways, many of you should have achieved that. We hear some of our knowledge seekers in China have announced that they have managed to produce gold, understanding the technology of the plasma in the past few weeks. We congratulate them, because this is what was achieved in Austria some 3 years ago, when matter state was done. But our knowledge seekers looked at the physical condition of the fields, but you have to understand the heartbeat of the fields. In the enhancement units, which you have seen we produce material, we leave it to you to understand that it's from the interaction of the fields. But in fact, every system heartbeat is tuned to tune with the sun in the center. And I can change the heartbeat. I produce gold this second, and the next second is the heartbeat of zinc, copper, oxygen, plutonium, whatever you need. With this process, man will develop new technologies that can produce the matters which are unseen to man and the atmospheric condition of the earth, what we call rare earth materials. It would not be rare because we have the knowledge to create the most rarest materials in the universe. One thing which mankind has to understand, why don't we have the other materials we see in the space on the earth? Because the heartbeat of the earth cannot match the heartbeat of the fields of the plasmas which have created that matter in that position in the universe. This was very obvious when we gave the first samples of the ganses to the scientists at the University of Ghent in Belgium. When we had the reading, it says this material, which was originally the CO2, has the characteristics of materials, what we call fancy elements, that man knows about or things can be made, but it was the first time the equipment of the technology could confirm the existence of it on this planet. This was a breakpoint too. If you read book number where we explain about the ganses, you see it has been referred that system has identified some 22 different elements, because what we call Raman spectroscopy, infrared spectroscopy, could measure the fields, could see these fields, confirm the existence of these materials within the gas. The ability to convert this gas to any of these elements, because the heartbeat of the element tunes to it. The transmutation of the elements to any other 22 was very clear to us from the second we received the data from Raman spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy. It wasn't just any more CO2. The fancy elements for the first time were confirmed to exist within the environment of this plasma, within the environment of the heartbeat of the Earth. When you send your gases, ask them what materials do the system say, or does the system say that can be, and this is the confusion for scientists, how can one gas of CO2 as a collection show the property of the what we call fancy elements, which we think exist, might exist, and how can we see, for example, oxygen, or we can see helium, or we can see potassium inside a CO2 magnetic gravitational field. So we saw the transmutation of the energies from the first test we did in Ghent University some 14, 15 years ago. Now we have to find how from this gas, which gives us the possibility of the what we call fancy elements, can be made transmutation within the structure of the CO2 itself. We are knowledgeable. Read the books. Go back to the chapters where you read about the gases. For the first time, we could understand we can transmute between elements within the structure of a plasma of a gas. There was the evidence. Scientific man-made machines could confirm the existence of the field energies, which the system converted it to the possibility of the existence of the matter-magnetic field strength. So we see what we teach about transmutation has already been in the books for past 10 years. Now you can understand more. Open the book, read it again. Then you understand. Then you understand why, even in one of the pictures of the book, we have put different color gases and we say they don't mix. Even they accommodate each other, but they don't have the heartbeat of each other. Gap space. The way you put two magnets on the table, they created the gap space distance according to their heartbeat, according to what magnetical and gravitational fields they get. It's the same as a man. When you have your lover, you bring it close. Your child, you hug, you transfer energies. But you don't do that with every man on the street. You keep your distance. It's the same with the gases. What is connected and what has a relationship allows that connection. In so many ways, what has been taught now can be explained to be understood more, in more detail. Now, the man scientists have to develop the new technologies to be able to replicate. Find a media that allows the replication of it for the use of the man, which is that media with a combination of the hydrogen and oxygen of this planet of different strength. When you go to what they call the holy waters, or the waters which comes from the mountains, or the springs which come out of somewhere, and they say this water is good for the eye. This water is good for the kidney, because people who had the kidney problem have drank it and they don't have any more problem. People who had a vision problem, now by drinking the water they don't have. Look at the essence of it. Where did water pass across the span of this planet that has gathered within it the field strength of that field strength of carries possibly amino acids which can interact, connect with the body of the man, which is the strength of the liquid of the eye of the man, which allows it to function, and then in functionability allows what we call change of vision. Then mankind has to look, what we said last week, for that elusive element which my man putting in his mouth or bringing it to a position near the soul of the man can elevate the soul of the man to the dimension of passing the physicality. Where in physicality, that energy field, what we use now, the physical mouth of the man, has a still control to remove it and convert back to the physical condition. As the brain of the man within the center of the soul of the man is still in control of the conformation of the physicality. This becomes the time when the man will have no fear of death anymore. As in a way, today you have corona, you get a vaccine injection and you hope it works. But this time, like a scanner, by taking in the tablets of the energy fields, you expand the soul of the man and you scan the fields right across the physicality, bringing everything to the harmony and balance, and then retracting it. You had a cancer this second and not the next. You absorb the energy from the fields of the universe, which gave you the virus that can destroy, separate the fields of the separation of your cells, and now you don't. In a way, you already knew this. You put patches on your body. You wash your body with different gans fields, and at the same time you drink the gases, and then at the same time you inhale it. You have known this knowledge. It's not something new. Now is for mankind to reach that point. The point of what we call the maturity of the physicality, that understanding man can have anything he needs. You need to go back into it, increase the field strength of it, and then switch it over to expand the soul. In the very first test we did with the people with what we call epileptic attack, this was very clear. Man has that power to do so. But he converts the energy into the soul of the physicality instead of to the soul of the man. One of the very first cases of when we tested the ability of the fields of this technology was with what we call an epileptic attack condition, where we realized the lady was creating her own attacks, her own epileptic attacks, but when she was creating so much energy, instead of giving it to the soul, she was pulling it to the physicality to get the attention, was then couldn't be able to control, and then she had the epileptic attack because the physicality cannot handle so much energy in a physical dimension. If she could transfer the energy instead of releasing to the neural system into the soul of the man, she would have been able to become invisible or become a light and then come back to a physical condition. But she wanted the attention of physicality of the mother and the father. When we handle this from the beginning, it was very obvious to me that how mankind chooses continuously conformation of physicality to the conformation of the soul of the man. The girl was having some 20 epileptic attacks a day. She was under observation from age of 5 by the most top physicians in the country. And when we saw her, she was in the age of 35, 37. It was obvious for me from day one that she is triggering the epileptic attack. But for me, I had to understand how she triggers it. What is the condition of the creation of the fields that becomes a physical reaction with the vomiting, convulsion, with the shaking of the body. It came to me very clear from the early stages of this that she is converting the energy of what is created in the brain, instead of feeding into the soul, finding satisfaction and elevation to the dimension of physicality, then she loses control, and now the body has to get rid of it in pulses, as what we call the system of the body of the man has a switch. If we can increase this switch to a higher order, then we'll find out, we'll come to be able to elevate the soul of the man. In a way, but what the people do with the epilepsy, those who can trigger it themselves, they create this energy to elevate the soul. But instead of that, for being the center of attention, getting that attention, love, they change it to epilepsy. Some chemicals do the same. We see some people, when they take certain medicine, give them that convulsion and what we call epileptic attacks. We do that in the time of just coma. When you have a head injury and a head-on collision, what happens? All the energy which was used, for example, you're driving, suddenly has nowhere to go. And then the body switches off. And then the soul operates within the physicality. When we had the first coma case, this became very clear to us. So we have seen how the energies to elevate the soul of the man is within the structure of the physicality of the man. Now we need, instead of creating the convulsion, creating the epileptic attacks, or becoming a condition of coma, to reverse that energy to go towards the soul of the man within the center of the brain of the man. And then you'll see the elevation of the soul. Every one of us can make a condition to become epileptic. I can show you within minutes. With the first epileptic case we had, she could control it. She could decide, this is middle of the road, if I fall, I have more audience, so she triggers it every time she crosses the zebra crossing. Because there are people, I'm on the floor, I get the attention. But she uses control, which she loses control. Then what we see as a rest of convulsion, what we see as a shaking, is the energy which was supposed to be used for the elevation of the soul of the man. But the girl decided to use for physicality. Being aware of this knowledge, I could stop the energy to be released to become physicality. And within less than 4 months, there were no epileptic attacks. There were no need for using of the medicine. As I said in other teachings, according to her doctors, she has taken over 100,000 tablets in 30 years of learning the technology of how to create energies, but not knowing where to send it. Within 4 months, the same doctors confirmed there is no epilepsy and there is no need for medication. So we knew this knowledge of the elevation of the soul of the man, the conversions of it into the dimension of physicality from the outset. We saw it in Raman spectroscopy of the CO2 at Ghent University in Belgium. But how can you tell this to people who have no knowledge and have no understanding? This is why the knowledge has always been in front of you. I have spoken about this epileptic case many times. Now you understand the process. They concentrate the energy into the center point of what you call the little tongue in the back. In a way, they feed the energy by that, directing it to the what we call the physicality of the man. When you want to see, when you see people who create their own epileptic attacks, ask them one question, open your mouth. The first thing you see, they have a different shape of what you call the little tongue in the back. Is hanging, pointing south towards the physicality. This is where they transfer the energy to. They suck on it. You hear them, most of them create a noise, the same noise as the heartbeat. They manage to create the heartbeat within the structure of the emotion of themselves, that when it matches into the heart, it goes into the dimension of physicality. And then it releases the energy in process what we call epileptic attack. So mankind has been aware of elevating his soul, but he has never managed to bring it inside. You think, I want to travel to planet Zeus, but you put that tablet of energy inside your mouth. Instead of diverting it towards the physicality, you point the energy towards the soul of the man. But now you have the control of it. Matches the fields as it's the home for you, and you reach the transmutation of your fields through the heartbeat of the man with the position and the place where you want to be. Pinpoint accuracy. I want to be where my lover is, where my home is, as even the bricks of the house, the construction of the house has a heartbeat of me which is connected to it. The knowledge of transmutation, the knowledge of transportation, the knowledge of the communication through the heartbeat of the man has always been with the man. But man has never understood, as man preferred the walk, the telephone call, and the sight as the way of communication and confirmation of existence and position. With a new understanding, with the development of the new technologies to be able to match the heartbeat, especially when I go back into Iran, within the next 30 days, hopefully, we start this process. We don't go to start from the bottom. We achieve at the highest level and let the people to understand and catch up. We are not going back to the process of teaching another 5 or 10 years to the science of what we call GANs making. We go to the direction and dimension of creating the heartbeat that gives rapid expansion in the knowledge of the man, rapid expansion in what we call technology and advancement of the man. The whole knowledge of the creation is within us. We could see this in the first space reactors which we developed in Belgium and then tested in Iran. We could see the combination of the two fields with the window we created on the reactors. When you have the opportunity to go to the exhibition, when you see the Iranian reactor, when you see the blue reactor, which was one of the very first reactors we built, we could see the inner core. You can see the position, how we could look into the heartbeat of the system, how we could see the fast rotating ball in a clockwise reaches the maturity of the field inside, stops, and then rotates backwards. The same as a heartbeat. We could measure at what point that heartbeat, that change of the reactor will come, that instead of returning back, we create lift and motion. We tune into the position. When you have a lever, you create the twin system of the heartbeat. This is how we could totally control the flight of, if you've seen the smaller reactor in respect to the bigger. without interaction with the field of the planet, because I could create enough field plasma inside one reactor to the other that allowed us to do. We were aware of the knowledge of what we call plasma and the heartbeat of the plasma from the beginning of time. But now that the knowledge seekers are aware and understand this, we can expand on the knowledge. In a way, when I used to explain to the knowledge seekers that just 1 second. When we started teaching about, and we explained to you how one system used to fly in respect to the other, was not just by gases, was to create the heartbeat to match, that one could lead to condition and position, to become a lover or take the position which way to go. This is how we could indicate and pre-plan which way, in which direction we wanted one reactor to fly in respect to the other. In so many ways, the knowledge has always been there, but now you can understand. Now we can explain that you can understand. In so many ways, you cannot create flight if you do not comprehend the strength of the fields of the heartbeat of the physicality and the soul of the man. Be it your machine, be it the planet, be it everything else which you target to become close to move away from, to be part of. In so many ways, in the original reactors, we always endeavored to understand the heartbeats through interaction of the two reactors. When you look at the two reactors which were built and tested in Tehran, both have heartbeat. Both are double core. If you look at them on the screen, you will see. The far distance reactor, which is sitting here, with the smaller one, which is sitting here. They are both twin system. They both have double core. The smaller one later on became to have a triple core. In the other systems, which was first shown in Italy, the energy system was the first 3-core system which we introduced. The advancement of the knowledge was so much that we could even go one step further than production of the condition of the physicality, the soul of the physicality, the soul of the man. When you look at the pictures of what we call the past, now we can explain what we teach you has already been in front of you from the beginning of time. In so many ways, when you look at the energy system, which we showed originally in Italy, which was actually manufactured in Belgium and shipped to Italy, is a triple core, which means we created such a small reactor inside the soul that we could even copy the heartbeat of a planet, the heartbeat of another position in the universe. The first triple core system gave us the interaction and indication that we could keep the soul of physicality. We could keep the soul of the man, but inside create a dimension of the soul of a position that inside the physicality wants to be within, to get, to reach, to be part of. Now we had the power to understand we could work from inside out. We could create a miniature, small dimension reactor inside the physicality of the system, which allowed us not only to change the dimension of the physicality, it allowed us to be able to create a new dimension and position. And this is what you will see in the upcoming enhancement units. We have hidden within the structure the creation and condition of the third, which man has to decide in how he'll use it to elevate and to bring the condition of the change of position or the energies to create or transmute from one element to another according to the point and the strength of the observer. When you look at the original reactors, which a lot of people were expecting energy from, it was initially tested for creation of the third dimension. Dimension of the position, dimension of the strength of the soul of the creator, dimension of understanding of any matter or element within the dimension of the existence of the man. It's the first time we disclose the understanding of. But if you go back to where we originally showed this reactor, we always explained this is a three-core center. The outer, the inner, and right on the tip of the system inside, we could add, increase, change, and introduce plasmas which could create the condition of the position and dimension. When we did the test in the labs, we could see the aura of what we call the position and dimension. These reactors, which in the coming time will be introduced, is needed to create a condition for transmutation and transportation and to be able to convert matters in different dimensions and positions. A three-core reactor is in a way inside the inside of the inside, where you can change that inside to the position, to the strength of the galaxy, to the position on the earth or on moon, and then transport the soul of physicality and the soul of the man within the structure of the center. In so many ways, we always had the knowledge. Now you can understand the way it's done. The way was planned to be. Now we can explain the structure of the motion. We can explain the structure of creating a third field within the fields of the physicality and the soul of the man. Then you can choose. I can take you within the soul of a stone, as I can create that soul within the structure of the soul of the man in the dimension of his own physicality and dimension of his own soul. Now, the knowledge has to become deeper and understood, and in the coming time, upon my return to Iran, in Tehran Sharif, and in what we call National Defense University, we will show these processes, where we let you go within the soul of a stone and explain to all of us what you see in the vision of the soul that the rest of us can understand. Now we understand more. We appreciate the knowledge in a deeper way. We can take you to the center of the sun, and you can go to the center of the universe with understanding the strength of the soul within the center core of the reactor. We tested this in China. As the knowledge seekers were not aware of the knowledge, for me to stand back and see and understand how the systems can be used was very clear. Because I knew what I was looking for. While they were looking for something else, we were there to produce and to deliver something else for the further advancements when the knowledge seekers are knowledgeable enough to be able to enjoy the time and the space and the place. Now you understand how the man will travel the depths of the universe, carrying his soul and carrying his soul of physicality, that at a given point in dimension, he manifests himself in that position in a dimension of physicality which the space and time allows it to. Maybe with 6 arms and 2 legs. Now you understand how much the knowledge has been in front of you. Go back into the teaching and look at what we call the energy system, which was brought in and shown for the first time in the Sasano when we went to Italy. It was part of, and it was delivered to be part of that technology. In so many ways, nothing has been hidden and everything has been in front. But as the mankind does not have the knowledge, could not see, could not comprehend that the knowledge of the man is far beyond what is on the table. Is far, far beyond what mankind could understand. And now we start sharing the knowledge. We start sharing the existence and confirmation. So if you understood this, in a coming time, if you can find the soul of an atom that you could put in the center of the 3 cores, and you could understand the heartbeat of that atom within the plasma of its structure, you can reach the soul, the center of the creation, of the totality of the created. You don't encompass, you embed. And that's the secret of transportation and transmutation in the depths of the universe. In a way, you work within and not to cover, to be able to go, to reach, to move, to convert, and do everything else which the man considered. Always remember what I have drawn for years. I start the spine, the spiral from the center, and I go out. And this is how mankind in coming time will be able to achieve such a process. You have to work with it. You have to understand your hydrogen takes the center point where the carbon will build on top of it, and so forth. This is the part of the process of the understanding. This is part of the process of being able to create a common ground and build on it to every other element which you might want to add or create or move to or convert into. You sit in the center, not to carry from outside. Man is used to the planes and cars to get in and to be carried, where with the work of the Creator, the energy moves within to move the body of the man, not to put the man inside to carry the man. Different, total different technology, totally different understanding, totally different proposition for man's knowledge expansion in the work of the universe. Maybe mankind now understand what it means. I made man in the image of myself. And I am in the center. I live within the center of everything which exists. And now is the work of the knowledge seekers to develop this, what we call the understanding and the process of conversion and transmutation from the center of the body of the man and not from outside. Would there be a time when mankind will use this knowledge to use what we call the energies of the viruses to feed them directly to the soul and to the center point of the creation, that man can become a compact energy transportation that can move anywhere within the universe. The knowledge of creation is within the created. Is for man to find the knowledge. Is for the man to understand the process. The path to the creator sits within the center of the soul of every created thing, even the man. Is man who has to go deeper inside to become more detached, that he can give everything to reach to the lover, to the creator. Then this way you will understand why even we created what we call the coils, because it allows you to spiral to the point, to become stronger, to reach to the center, to the creator. One day, mankind will understand by development of especially what we call the coils, which you use in maglev system, what knowledge was given to man. And man, through the greed of the few light bulbs, missed the light of the creator. And in time, man will come to understand the totality of the knowledge. Our greed for a visual seeing allowed us to miss the light of the creator with the same mission. But in time, as we become knowledgeable, man will overcome these weaknesses of detachment, become the process of his strength, and attachment becomes his demise. Be it the love, be it the physicality of a car or a lover. In so many ways, the knowledge of the creation sits within the soul of the man. It's for man to find that knowledge, to understand the power and the strength of the heartbeat of that energy center within itself, that it leads to its creation. In so many ways, we listen to the heartbeat of the man, physical condition. Now we listen to the heartbeat of the soul of the man. And when man graduates to understand totality, then mankind will listen to the heartbeat of the creator within himself. Then you understand what I have said for such a long time, that it takes 1 second to reach to the level of the creator, to be with the creator, as his heartbeat is within the soul of the man. And in so many ways, he controls the man. He reaches the man through his soul, directly from inside and not from outside. In so many ways, mankind will become very wise to understanding of the totality. When you look at this reactor, you see the progress in understanding. The reactor on the corner, this is the reactor with the 3. This reactor has 2, and this reactor has 1. This reactor has 2. This reactor has 2. This is the same. If you look, all the knowledge has been there from the beginning. When you look at this system, just watch. What do you see? 1 motor, 2 motors, 3 motors. When you look at this system, just watch what you see. If you expand it, you will see rings. You will see the expansion of the rings. Each ring links to one position in the center of what you call your systems. One measures or feeds or allows the elevation of the center, where the position of the planet to be, the soul of the creator to be controlled. The knowledge has been there from the beginning, but now we can explain. We could measure the strength of the plasma in the center of the reactor. We could even measure the heartbeat of the system. When we put this system in front of you, there is so much knowledge of the creation and the creator inside. But now, as man knowledge has progressed, we can explain. This far system here has a little tiny reactor in the center. Is less than 3 millimeter diameter. Sits inside another system and sits inside what you see from outside. We could make a condition that this system to travel to any point in the depth where the man heartbeat matches its existence. Because when you look, it's very simple. We created a small reactor, which is controlled and fed through a dynamic beam. Then we have created a second reactor, which again the soul sits inside this, where we could feed this one through a hole here, and this one through holes here. And then we created the third core, where we could do the same and feed this one here. We could control the rotation of this one. We could control the rotation of this one, and we could control the rotation of this one. But in essence, in the center, there was one soul, what we call the soul of the creator. With it, in the interaction of this soul, this field and this field, we could create a condition of moving the soul of the system and the soul of the creation this way. Then when we interact with this one and this one, we move the soul of the physicality in conjunction with the center. And then at the same time, we still have the connection with the soul of the physicality and soul of the man, that we can take both with us. And when we land in a new environment, wherever it will be, we see instead of the circle system, most probably a man. These are not theories. You have seen the system has been in front of you since 2013, when it was shown for the first time in Italy. And it's always been in front of you. What you saw, the reactors next to each other, sits in our office in Austria on the shelf. The history of the space travel sits in front of you. But as you had no knowledge, you looked at if it creates a lift, if it does this. But in fact, we tune the heartbeat of every system to be able to be in a dimension of physicality, in a dimension of the soul of the man, or in a dimension of the galaxy, a universe, or whatever we need. You remember, in all the teachings, many times, I wrote and I drew this, and I explained to you, if this is CO2, that is the oxygen. This is the carbon. And you can go the same way with other materials. But if you look, the pinpoint of whole thing is this. They all have this center in common. The interaction of the red and the black gives you the green. Now you see copper. The same thing, interaction with you between the yellow and the black will give you the white, for example. You see it. But it all depends which fields, but in center they're all the same. If you reach to this point, you see all these elements as a new element, has one common denominator. And if you go within the center, you see the soul of the creator. Man has to go within himself, to find his creator. Not to look outside, where can I find the creator? In the galaxies and the universe, because the seed of the essence of his creation sits within us. I made man in the image of myself, because I sit within the man. Every cell of the man carries my image. Not only the physicality of the man with 2 arms and 2 legs. I even sit within the soul of the man itself, as his soul is built on top and above my soul. We always said the soul of physicality has created the physical dimension to interrupt the soul of the man. But the same is true. The soul of the man has created that entrapment to keep the soul of the creator within it. One thief has become the thief of the other. One imprisoner has become the prisoner of the other. Then we understand the process of transmutation and transportation and every communication. Go within you, understand the strength of the communication with your creator, and he will respond, because he has access to creator, has the dimension to create whatever that the wish of the man has been. The more you wear, the less chances of getting to the body of the man. The less you're detached. The more you're detached and the less you wear, it's easier to reach the physicality, to give directly from the source. There are no armors to keep the man away from the soul of the creator, except the greed of the man in the dimension of physicality. is the man who wears that armor, and not the creator hiding himself inside it. Try to understand the process of the heartbeat of every element, and in that heartbeat become the position that is the giver. Then when it collapses to become the taker from the dimension of the soul of the creator, you come close for it to exist. And there is a point of the turn. As you have seen, as you go to the maximum alkali, you become acidic. If you reach the point of devotion and detachment, you'll become part of the creator. As being a creator, you become the creator of. This is how we create our children. This is how we create the soul of our children. And then the whole thing has a new meaning. We give everything we have to create, and that creation becomes part of the essence of our creator. In so many ways, the knowledge of the creation, transmutation and transportation of every fields of the universe become understandable, and we can replicate it, because now we have access to what we call not the physical strength, but we have access to the field strength given to us by the ganses we have created. In a way, mankind has to learn how to use the field strength of the ganses, that in interaction creates the heartbeat needed, that with it allows the man to transmute, transport, and everything else in the universe. Now you understand why for past months I keep on telling you, work with the fields, not with the ganses. Because with the interaction of the fields, you can create that heartbeat. With the interaction of the fields, you can create transmutation and transportation, conversion from one to another, position from one place to another. Now you understand why we tell you the new enhancements units are so advanced. Because the new enhancement units have taken all this into consideration. It creates with the condition of creation of the heartbeat of every cell within the body of the man. Every element within the structure of the body of the man, or the combination of interaction of the fields, which can interact with every cell of the man. But still, it has a soul. It's your soul which allows that field to interact to overcome the cancer, to overcome the depression, because you are still within the structure of that spine of the fields of the creation, even though you are getting fed from outside by the system. You decide if you want to match, to receive. It's you decide if you don't want to match and not to receive and hold on to what you have. We create our own cancers. We create our own creation. Cancer within the body of the man is not an alien. It's the creation of us. It's the creation of interaction of fields of our emotion with the interaction of the fields of our physicality. You remember the difference in the book one between the weight and the mass? Cancer is the weight, and the emotion of the man is the mass. What we carry as a base in interaction with the fields of our body creates that condition of the weight of the element of what it to be. You call it cancer. Look within you. You find the answer to every disease in man. Because it's the interaction of the fields of our emotion and physicality which leads to the creation of that problem. Be it the cutting of the neural system that creates your Alzheimer's, being engagement of the physicality to become everything else we want to be. From Parkinson to MS to ALS to every creation of cancer in the body of the man. We can change it. We can introduce dimensions and directions. We find a reason for it, we will create it. Many of you, I explained a few weeks ago, I suffered from hay fever for years, but I had no reason. Life was not there to be happy, to be living, and there was no reason to remedy. But now I have a reason. I love to live, to be able to teach and create, and love the Mitra. When I got poisoned, as many of you know, my pancreas was damaged to this point of cancer. For the first time, as I was explaining to one of knowledge seekers, wanting to create, to get rid of all this for years, I set out the past few weeks to get rid of it because I want to be with Mitra. I want to show the love of the Creator. Now, with one move, I have no more side effect of the cancer within my body. Because if I could eat one berry, I could see the whole pancreas collapsing. Now, I tested myself. Last week, I ate a bowl of every kind of berries which could trigger my pancreas. No sign. We need a reason to live. We need a reason to accept the change. And then with that, with the strength of the emotion, we can bring that change. And the tools of it is given to you in every way through the production of the fields where you have been given the tools with what you have, you call ganses, which came from the matter of the creation on a lower level. In a way, with the knowledge of the plasma, we are elevating you to understand more and more the higher strength position from matter state to nano, from nano to GANs, and now to the fields, and in the coming time to fields of the plasmas of the creation and the Creator. But the man needs to take patience. Man needs to understand. I made the first reactors, which you have seen the first time 20 years ago. Because I knew I have to prove it in a scientific way. When I bought the first centrifuge to create the first condition of separation of the elements to be able to create plasma in 2002, 2003, the target was where we are today. We have all the knowledge, but it's hidden within. And we decide when to manifest it. Be it the knowledge of the creation, be it the knowledge of reaching the Creator, be it the knowledge of producing anything we want, or position where we want. Now you have knowledge. Now you've been given the possibility to be able to understand more. And from now on, it's depending on your own intelligence and your own understanding. Look within. Now you understand. And within you, you will find the Creator. In so many ways, now those of you who've been so busy with building the double core reactors, get busy with bringing 3, but understand the process. The limitation of the plasma, creation of the plasma is limitation of you to what you can convert, to where you can go, and how deep and closer you can reach the Creator and His knowledge. Because once you move within, you become enlightened of the presence of the others, even the Creator. But don't look in the dimension of the physicality, but look in the dimension of what we call the soul of the man. Maybe the knowledge now has a new meaning. Maybe the knowledge now has a new understanding. Maybe mankind will be able to understand more of itself and himself. And maybe, one day, the knowledge seekers collectively will reach the total understanding of the creation, that collectively mankind will move to understand their own created and their own creation, and there will be no need for intermediaries as religion, because we learn the correct conduct, we learn the principle of the existence, and with it we set outside, or in a way we set ourselves not to sit outside but to be part, be it using a cup, be it using an air filter, being whatever we have chosen in the dimension of the light of the man. In so many ways, from the cup to so many ways to creation, we can choose. We are that cup, and we decide what's in it, what goes in it, and who we allow to drink from it. Be it our lover, be it our physicality, be it our soul. The physicality of the cup is irrelevant. The understanding of the interaction of the fields which is created within the cup is the essence of the creation. One cup, one life, that's all it means. The totality of existence lives within that cup. It's you who has to find the cup and find out what kind of fields are within this cup. That cup being the physicality of the man, and the water within it, the liquid within it, be the essence of the creation of the man itself. You create a cancer in a cup, or you create elevation and dimension of reaching the Creator. Now man has the opportunity and the ability to choose. And with the knowledge we give, we create that condition for man to choose. And now you understand why I always said, the heart of the man, not the physical heart, which is creator of the heartbeat, is the temple of the man. And man should never bow or bend to no structure, to no man, and to no created thing, except the soul of himself. And how much that soul allows the physicality to understand more of the creation. The temple of the man is within the heart of his soul, not within the building and churches and the mosques, which man has made himself to become a prisoner of. Then he can be controlled. The messengers came to open the door for the teaching of today. And it's for man to understand he's the prophet of himself. And it's him who will profit by his own understanding. Now you understand why there is no more punishment. As it's you who decide to which level you go and how you punish yourself not to understand. And then there is no heaven and no hell, as is you who decide how closer you want to get to that center or how far you want to be from it, because all is within you, an understanding of its totality. Thank you very much for today. And we go to a commercial break and we come back and we'll see how the greed of the man brings what question to understand more about the conduct and the life of the man. Would you like to go to a commercial break and we come back, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. So this is the 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and we'll take a short commercial break and be back in a few minutes. I'll have to get you to mute, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I thought you mute me.
Sorry, what was that?
I thought you mute my microphone. No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. We're back from our commercial break there for the second part of today's 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop on Thursday, May 27th, 2021. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin?
Yes. This time I unmuted myself.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
We have to get our coordination a little better on that one.
We are learning slowly after 8 years. It's interesting when you teach in this way, your physicality is aware of the presence of a soul. And it goes through the emotion. And it's not easy to watch within oneself what exists and what is hidden, to share soul condition. And it's beautiful to see your observer to a process, which is the sharing of a knowledge which sits within the hidden knowledge of the Creator. And it's amazing to see what will come out of such a pure sharing of the technology and knowledge of the Creator, so pure. And what would mankind and the rest of the creation would make out of it? And what path they take to see its beauty. It truly makes you cry. Any question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And it's true, and it's all being delivered live in real time at this moment, which is the amazing part of it. We don't have to pre-record all the crying sound effects and so on. It's live in real time, and people are affected emotionally by what you say and by the topics that come up here. We have a hand up from Onder from earlier in the workshop here, so perhaps he can go ahead to lead off today's questions. Onder, can you go ahead there?
Maybe he's going to look for his chocolate.
Okay, could be.
Is this Onder from Switzerland?
I see. I thought just being a human would come under that category. So we had Alex with a hand up, but the hand went down again. So I'm not sure, Alex, to allow you to speak there if you like.
Oh, it was a mistake.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Keshe.
There are no mistakes in the universe, I think Mr. Keshe would say at this point.
No, this one was a mistake.
Pardon?
It was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Oh, it's never a mistake. It's nice to hear your beautiful voice.
Okay, so Salamia has a hand up here, so I'm sure she has something interesting to ask or say. Go ahead, Salamia.
Okay, hello everybody. Hello, Rick. I have a question. How can the Keshe Foundation, using plasma science, could contribute to climate change cooperation between China, US, and the European Union by green diplomacy? Thank you for your kindness. And I hope that our Keshe Foundation will make a difference in the world on this subject too.
The Keshe Foundation is not the only organization, but we have the technology which we already captured the CO2, as many of you use it for your farming and the rest. It's just that how much is the CO2 an excuse for the global warming, and how much is the reality in its totality? In any case, what you call a global warming is or creation of massive amount of CO2 because of the man's new way of living. Is all can be done. As we said, it will take time for it to be reversed. Millions of cars every day is on the road, and now we've seen a new gimmick with the green cars, electric cars, and in so many ways, the position of the CO2 now it gets worsened with electric cars than actually improving with the electric cars, as we knew what is coming and what is getting burned in the engine of the car and what comes out of the exhaust. Now, we're not letting you to burn the fuel. They can charge anything they like and burn anything they like. You have to understand, from our point of view, and being a nuclear physicist, being especially working within the field of the energy, we look at this, what you call global warming, creation of CO2, with what is called electric cars in a totally different way than you do. Being in the oil business for a long time, before I came into the world of science, opening knowledge, you have to understand what this electric cars and reduction in global warming, as they say, is, how negative it is. If you look at it from another different point of view. As you know, we do not refine so much when it comes to burning the fuel for what we call ocean liners or the ships. We use the cheapest, the less processed, and in so many ways with the highest pollution. If you put all the cars together, the amount of pollution they create is nothing compared to what the ocean line is and what ships and transports your goods across this planet, because they use a lower fuel. With this new technology of what they call electric power cars, the power stations will go backwards. They'll be adopted to use the cheaper fuel which is used for ship liners, which means it costs much less than the fuel you're buying, less need for refining, and charging you more for. The push for electric cars and reduction in global warming is another gimmick for higher income for oil producers, because we don't need to refine, but we get much higher prices for it. Once they get you into all electric cars, you'll find out it'll be all go for everyone. What do you do? You can't afford paying. The oil producers will dictate their terms. So many ways, if you manage to reach a solar car or energy system car, then you achieve helping with the global warming. But first of all, we have to find out, develop technologies which uses no charging. Then we are actually set up to create a condition that create less what we call CO2 and the gases that create the global warming. Everything you see with electric cars is set into that direction for a massive income for the oil producing nations, where they don't have to go to a high level of refining. They still can get you more or less raw material, except some bits out of it, and charge you huge for your electricity. Don't forget, most of you running electric car charge your cars at night when it's ready for tomorrow. And unfortunately, we have no solar cells to run at night. Only can be powered by the power stations, burning of the fuel. There is a huge hypocrisy in the present electric car system. Unless we can introduce system that you use new advanced technologies which you do not need to burn fuel, and you work on the magnetic field positioning and creation of the power through a different process. Because now they can burn these fuels away from what we call your eye. You don't see what it gets burned. I remember when I used to be part of a different organization, I used to own a different structure years ago. We used to take whatever was not supposed to be in the hand of public to power stations to burn. About the somebody's microphone is open, and nobody knew what we burned. Don't forget, your money, which gets recycled or used to papers, now is coming plastic, used to be taken into power stations and burned. What had a lot of millions of values in the bag became part of the heating and creation of energy for you for a microsecond. We used to do the same. Most of the nations do this. when we used to receive fake alcohol, fake goods, they don't get buried. They're taken to power stations to burn, become part of the fuel energy. Now they will do the same with unrefined products, cheaper, and in a way they charge you more for. Not many of you charge your cars during the day that you can say you use the wind, or you can use the solar panels that they're putting around the world. There's a huge discrepancy in this. And the only solution is, once we go into what we call magnetic field systems, which creates lift and motion, then you work within the magnetic field of the planet and not within the structure of the materials of this planet. Then you can sort out the global world. You're setting up to reach that point in setting up the new factories, the new structures for space technology. We need to bring the space technology forward, that using the knowledge of space, mankind will move away from what we call burning of the fuels and what you call the global warming. Patience. We're getting there. Anybody who has introduced any alternative with water, with different things, has been taken out, eliminated by those who want to push to have more papers and more plastic and more power. And now the change, you will learn slowly, all of you, how to create these conditions. I think maximum, once we develop the space technology, overnight, within a handful of years, a man will walk away from fossil fuel, or burning of the fuel. Then we'll talk a different language. But again, would we be able to absorb or convert enough of the CO2 that we don't create new chaos and new problems with the lack of CO2? Because we know how life started when the conversion of elements came into operation by increasing CO2 or reduction in oxygen, or whatever historians will tell us. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let's see, we've got Onder. I'm not sure if you're able to speak yet, or unmute your microphone. Not hearing you back. KR Thomas.
I think he's gone to looking for the chocolate from Ghana, yet cocoa, to find out. He'll be back soon.
Must be taking the train there, I guess. Okay. Go ahead, R. R. Thomas, your mic's open. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Thomas from Switzerland. I think we're sort of still at the same point where Mr. Morgan and Mr. Ford told Mr. the name just escapes me. Tesla, when they told Mr. Tesla, where's the meter? And look, we are still, I've been in this business long enough. I'm soon 100. My God, money and control is what they want. And I don't know, but we've had times in the history of this Earth where CO2 has been much higher. And thanks to that, our greenhouse has thrived and man hasn't been extinguished. It's all a question of power. It's like this new virus. I mean, this new virus is not a new virus. It has just been pushed by all these people to put people in a sort of very, very sort of position where they're all anxious. We're all going to die. My God. This is just, I think the whole thing will have to be extended for a few more months till enough people finally wake up and find out that all this plastic money and printing money, and that's nothing but control and nothing else. Maybe I'm seeing that from maybe a little bit.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Go back. You said you're nearly 100. You're a very good reference point. I met a man in China that said he's over 200 years old, but I couldn't ask him the question I wanted to ask. What was the means of transportation when you were 5 or 6 or 10 years old?
More or less the same, but we still had a lot of horses and we did walk a lot. We had some buses which were coming and going every few hours. There were trains. It was not much more different than today. Today, what do we have? We have cars, we have trains, we have planes, and what is this kind of transportation asking for? It's asking for new, always new material. The old one is just sort of disposed of, and that's how they sort of kept their control in just learning people how to trash things. And for trashing, you need a credit system, and then you have the people, and you can do with them what
you come from Switzerland.
Yes.
Go back to that time. Switzerland always has been the point of the richest nation in 20th century. What was the life from the food wise? What was available? Nowadays, anywhere on this planet, you can walk into a supermarket. You have a tin or glass of everything you can imagine on the shelves. What was life like? How would humanity was feeding itself in a rich nation of Switzerland?
I think.
I mean, what could you find in the shops? Okay. Was it as abundant as today, everything?
No, because the need wasn't there. Nobody asked for strawberries for Christmas.
But the Swiss asked for a chocolate for Christmas.
you
when
know,
there was no chocolate factory.
Mr. Keshe, you know that the invention of chocolate was a mistake by Mr. Tobler in Bern. He left on a Friday night and forgot to stop the conch, this machine which sort of is working the mass of chocolate. And when he came back Monday morning, this machine was still running. And he tasted the chocolate and said, "My God, is that delicious?" And so was the Swiss chocolate invented by mistake.
Yeah, but what is interesting in the lifespan of a man, you most probably have seen more evolution in science and technology and lifestyle than our forefathers have seen in thousands of years. Automation, flights.
Absolutely.
intellect, expansion of territories, leaders who come and gone, how man has what I call imprisoned himself in more and more physicality. You have seen a lot. I'm sure if you bring the people who say they live 200 years, they can tell us more what changes they have seen.
Oh yes, that is for sure. I mean, how was it done 100 years ago? It was done by fooling people. It was done by Mr. Rothschild, saying, I couldn't care less what government I have as long as I can make the money. And that's how the Federal Reserve was, which has nothing to do with federal. It was made, it's a private bank. And then in all the development over the last 100 years, what has happened? People like we, as the Swiss, who sort of claim to be neutral and I don't know what all. What did we do? We gave Rothschild an extraterritorial piece of land in Basel, and from there he's controlling the whole world, living on the lake of Zug and tyrannizing everybody.
Yeah, but if you look at it with a new understanding, new technology, new sciences, a man is free to move and to moon. Mr. Rothschild has no control.
Right.
Or some other dimensions or another position.
You know, that's my big hope, is that we come back to this moment where Mr. Tesla, instead of or they had the possibilities to push him aside, but where the technologies which are now coming to bear fruit will stop these people from trying to control the humanity. And I think as soon as you will be able to show them how to go to the moon and to other places, then
could we have a Rothschild bank on the moon? Selling money to the
aliens? You know, I don't really know what techniques they have. They always say that they can go into the universe, and I don't know what all, but I hope that mankind will at some point understand that it's not the money which makes the world go round, that it's the consciousness of people which will finally sort of tell us the way to go.
Maybe in the cycle of next generation, next 100 years, the way we live, the way mankind has chosen to live will not exist. From what we see from the past 100 years and what we see will come in the next 100 years, man will not live the life you and I lived. And most probably even the way our children lived. The progress in technology will open the shackles of control, even though they're trying to. As I said very recently, in the coming time, who can say how much I'm worth if I can worth in what I need? So, do we need to go to somebody to tell us how much money we have in the imaginary electronic bank accounts? Or do we create that numbers, or those numbers that we put in the account, we say, oh, this is how much you're worth, this is how much my value is, what my need is, and I bank that much. Self-control, self-taught. In a way, now we get somebody to make some digits, electronic digits, and puts it in a digital thing, and we say, well, this is how much I received today. But I can't feed myself. I can shop to feed my children. But in a coming time, I can create those numbers myself. I don't need somebody to tell me. And then I create those digits. But I create it in a what we call responsible manner. And then we have seen with Corona, and now with the elimination of what we call currencies, we will value ourselves and we bank ourselves to our value. Doesn't mean we all have Rolls Royces. If it's a fun to have a Rolls Royce, you can all have a Rolls Royce, all want a mansion. Okay, you can pay for the mansion, but we value what we need, what brings us comfort, what brings us peace. And I see this as one of the ways that this new, what we call cryptocurrency, will take mankind. We don't need to go and mine for somebody else. We mine our own intelligence, our own need, and that becomes our wealth. What I say in the coming time, there will be no banks that Rothschilds can have a hold, but we become the bankers of ourselves in our needs. And this cryptocurrency, what they call mining, is the beginning of establishment of that point. If I can electronically mine something which doesn't exist, so I can mine through my own soul, through my own existence. And then I give myself a credit what I need. In a way, I don't need to have a credit because I create the dimension of the funding as I need at a point of need that justifies somebody else's effort to get what he needs. I see in a short coming time, the financial institutions or our banking system will take two pathways. One is what we credit ourselves to, and one is what other people are crediting us with what we've done. In a way, we won't go hungry, but we have a double account. One is self-evaluation, and one is what others evaluate us to be, for what we give, what we serve. And what the shop says, I cannot accept because your what we call other people's contribution to your wealth of existence is very low. You haven't served much people, but you're giving yourself a lot of credit to buy a house of $1 million. This has to be sorted. We become self-conscious of our own conduct. This is a very beautiful way that humanity is going. Electronic banking and moving away from backing of matter like gold with the currency and now changing into what we call cryptocurrencies is the beginning of these people mining for what? Where I can mine for myself. It's the beginning of the independence of man from what we call control of Rothschilds. We see that very clearly. It's on the horizon. Because if I can find a way to create the numbers that it fits into my account that everybody else accepts, no bank will refuse it. And within the limit, you've got to understand, we have started this process. When we launched the Keshe coin, European Central Bank and our bank had a huge objections to it. And I had to explain to European Central Bank how the Keshe Foundation coin works. And it took a few months back and forth, and Central Bank of Europe has accepted the Keshe Foundation currency as a Keshe coin, as a valid coin within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. They could ban us, they could close everything for us, but they realized the beauty of it, which was, will come from the efforts of the Keshe Foundation, and we don't give a speculation to it. It stays as €1,000, and it gives enough that allows a lifestyle that the investors who donated as a donation can keep a lifestyle. And we see it now, there are groups who are working in the background to promote the Keshe Foundation coin as a correct, what they call ethical coin. We've seen in past few weeks how what we call Bitcoin, a lot of people, they invested all their life saving into it at $50,000 and $55,000 per coin. Imagine a coin sitting somewhere, and with the word of one man dropping to as low as 20,000 and standing at 39. This is what life of a man should not be. Cryptocurrencies have become a source of abuse of the man the same way. So why do I need somebody else working on a digital computer where I can be that computer and digitally put what I want, but the correct amount, that it doesn't create mayhem. And we become ethical in a way we only create, we only take what we need, allows the others to produce.
You're absolutely right. If you ask me, the control sort of part of a human, that hasn't changed for all the time we sort of recorded history. And what they are doing is trying to perpetuate this system of control. And my opinion is, as soon as they learn that there is a possibility to start traveling the deep space, these whole systems will not sort of be needed anymore, because if in a few generations we will see that a lot of people will not leave forever this earth, but they're going, their interest is somewhere else. So they don't need cars, they don't need houses. So the only thing which will be necessary is to really look for this beautiful garden which this earth represents, and like in a private garden, see that this is sort of looked after. And when these people come back, that they find somewhere, and if they can replicate and everything which is possible through the differential of the fields, and they start to create, I think that there will be a totally different ethics, because up to now, what was ethical in this world?
Can I tell you something? Can I ask you something?
Please do.
Look at you outside the window, wherever you sit. I'm sure you'll see a bird flying. You might see a cat moving, or a dog, or another animals. Does any of them carry a bank card? And does any of them pay for the food they eat? How humanity has got to this point baffles me.
You're not the only one.
And how many, Switzerland being such a small nation, landmass-wise, how many of the birds flying over Switzerland into France and Italy and other carry their passport, and they have corona, they have to go in quarantine for 10 days? None. As we see now, with nations being brought into this condition of nationhood, we see even now a good example of it, that nations have realized how they've been triggered in past few months, about to a point when Britain opened what we call the tourism into Portugal as a clean country, and then within a few days, the Spanish seeing that there's so many British are going to Portugal, we want part of that money, Now you can go to Spain without any testing, without anything. Suddenly the corona doesn't exist anymore. Yeah?
Hasn't it been artificial anyway?
Yeah,
Because
but
this PCR test,
yes,
in the end, you can find anything you want.
yes, but what is interesting is it's the only clever virus I have seen which knows borders, it knows nationality, and it doesn't cross. And when it crosses, everybody knows where it is. It becomes the Chinese, and then the Iranian, and now the Indian, and it was the British, and then there was a South African border version of it. So it comes how we have accepted control. In a very short time, with what is in the hand of the Keshe Foundation, scientific proof, the Keshe Foundation proves that the technology of the Keshe Foundation is more or less near to 100% perfect for any virus. We don't reveal this outside, but very soon we reveal it, that what we call the viruses which we are entangled with are 100% recoverable. As we are a space technology, we have shown the viruses in space are our biggest, what I call counterparts, as our enemies, because some of them are good, and how we can handle it to use their energies to our advantage. It'll be very interesting. As we say, watch the space. And we are expecting for our scientists to confirm on a national level, and then we release the data. And then you understand, none of us need to be in this condition of what we call one day influenza, one day one virus, and then another virus. Once is a virus for the cat, the other day is for the pig, and the rest of it. Mankind has to find a collective solution, permanent solution in understanding the process of the virus and finding that solution that it can apply to all. And as a space technology, we have found that. We have developed the technology and we have shown it in the past months right across the planet, applied from people in the villages of Amazon to the presidents of the nation visiting another city and whatever. So it's us who has got to be working collectively and in spreading the knowledge to be used by us and how we allow other people to abuse us. We have shown we have set up the structure for what we call one planet, one nation. And we have shown in the basic step, in financial way, our coin has been accepted. Very soon we'll change these coins into what you call your coin. And then we'll change it in a way that is the beginning of setting up a one nation, one planet, one race. And we are reaching there gradually, but it takes time to work against thousands of years of ingrained accepting superiority of one man over the other. And we're not very far from you. We're not very far from Rothschilds, and Rothschilds don't like Keshe Foundation.
I can imagine.
They've tried everywhere to buy us. They have tried everywhere to intimidate us. But in a way, when they get the corona, the first thing they look at is a Keshe Foundation technology.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're really. I have no words for these kind of people.
You see, the beauty with the Keshe Foundation is the depth of the what we call number of people who use and go across the Keshe Foundation. We had a discussion with our knowledge seekers. We were trying to get into, a company was trying to explain to us, and they said they have 1.2 million traffic a day. And we just looked at their ranking. What does 1.2 million, which they confirm they have, puts them on the internet ranking, because now you can rank it. And it came to something like 6.1 million sites in the world. with 1.2 million traffic, what they claim. And then, if you look, Keshe Foundation before used to be around 35,000 websites in the world. And now we are around, in one of our websites, around about 200,000. And I said to them, if 1.2 million gives you 6 millionth position in the world as one of the leading organizations, where does Keshe Foundation sit with 200,000 ranking? So the traffic across the Keshe Foundation is huge. And this is in one of our websites. Keshe Foundation is followed by millions of people. When we say we have 200, 300 million followers, when you listen to this establishment supposed to be very big in Canada, and it has 1.2 million daily traffic, and they're ranked 6 million.1, then you can understand how many more millions have to be to bring you to the 200,000. If you understand what I'm trying to say. So there is more people crossing the Keshe Foundation. More people are learning the knowledge, and gradually in terminology they will come across it. When you become the top 35 or 20,000, you have to understand the ones above you, majority of them are government websites. People go to it for social security. 10 million pay electricity bill every year through them. 10 million, 100 million pay their wages through the banking system. You understand? So Keshe Foundation, from what we see in the ranking of internet, we are well placed as one of the leading organizations in traffic. People who come to us on a daily basis. Even being a few seconds, what is new today? Even being introduced to what it is. So we are establishing a well base, and in the next few weeks you will see, we'll set up to come in the rank of the top at least 50,000 in the world. Then we create that evolution in the knowledge. Don't forget, they said to us by 2018 they make sure there is no sign of Mr. Keshe and no anywhere on the internet. And we saw the massive pressures which was created in 2016-17. And then we saw the massive pressure in 2020. And this has brought us more recognition, more acceptance.
Mr. Keshe, that's it. I mean, the pressure they try to apply, that's a boomerang, because actually what they are doing is promoting the Keshe organization, because the more they have trolls and saying what this is not good and that is not good and this is the more people go and have a look, and the more people who are awakening. And that's why this virus has a good part of it is the next month. That's what I believe. There will be much more pressure from governments to wear masks and this and that. And that will help the mass to suddenly say, now it is enough.
You see, there is an interesting point how Keshe Foundation has built in different structures. In early times, around 2006-7, we had a masses of people looking for free energy. We had a huge traffic. Everybody wanted to understand, because we were getting promoted as a free energy organization, the rest of it. And now the Keshe Foundation is getting huge number of people who are trying to find a solution through Corona. That's where our traffic comes from. But the beauty of it is that it's not coming in to see. They come, they learn how to make the ganses, they go on the videos, how to learn to make nano coating, and they start becoming knowledgeable in the knowledge. And this is the beauty of it. It's
and if
not
once
a
people see that and understand that, there is no way back.
There is a way people, because of Corona, are getting educated, and with it, they become part of.
Absolutely.
It is the beauty. We try to analyze why we have such a huge traffic. What is to stay in, because this assessment is done on a, I think, more or less daily basis, on a frequent basis, and not something you used to be. And we, in the next few weeks, there is a pressure, not a pressure, a promotion to clear a lot of what has been built in the background around Keshe Foundation to be cleaned up, to be put right. You will see an article very soon in the press, which goes back, for example, to Stephen Hawking. That the article will tell you, if you remember when Stephen Hawking on the 8th of July 2004, he announced that he lost the shirt because he changed his mind that the black holes do leak. The article reads very simple. The shirt which Stephen Hawking gave, where was it stolen from? You understand? He had to steal from technology of the Keshe Foundation to be able to give it. And there is a huge movement, you will see a start questioning how organizations and governments start setting up against the foundation. This article will appear with a press interview that will explain how a man lost a shirt, not from his pocket, he stole from somebody else. When you steal, you can give it away free. You understand?
But our states, they steal right and left, and they don't give it away free. They ask for money.
Yes, but if you remember, Stephen Hawking has said that was things on the news, if you read it 8th, 9th of July 2004, that he lost the shirt to a friend after 30 years when he changed his mind that the black holes do actually leak. The new article appearing in one of the major newspapers, which is getting written and it'll be published, he says, where did Stephen Hawking got the shirt he stole from, that he gave away that shirt, stolen shirt? Which means it's not the principle of the shirt, it's the principle of the knowledge. And a lot of us will come to understand what has been stolen from us as a knowledge that now we have and we can apply ourselves. This is the beauty of the technology, the knowledge which we can understand. We don't need anyone to tell us about it. We can apply.
It's the simplicity. What I always admired is how you went about, is sort of with very, very simple things. And that was something the universities and governments, they didn't want to. And before they realized, there were so many people who saw advantages in doing certain things, like being able to create a little bit of electricity, and more and more and more and more, and the more complicated it got, the more also I believe certain people, and I know from physicians and from plasma engineers and physicians, they started to look at what you were teaching. They were told, "Oh, don't touch Keshe," but they did, and they followed, and I think there is no way back. These people are awoken to these possibilities. That was not possible for Tesla, because then the internet didn't exist. But now these people, they sort of, this will I'm sure, spread on its own. It doesn't need so much the best thing which can happen is that they go very against it and put pressure, and then these people, even more so, they're going to test and to look, and I see it in a very, I see the development in the future very positive.
You know, you said the best stuff. As we told you that we have brought in to, we are bringing teams to introduce the Keshe Foundation the way it is. And as we said, that you will see the Keshe Foundation becoming as part of the bestsellers in different categories and the things. And I was told yesterday, one Keshe Foundation in one of scientific categories in one of the retail organizations on the internet has reached the bestseller. We are waiting for the data in the next few days that now the organization, we are getting organized in a way that we have become in a certain category, and the categories will increase gradually in different retail parts of the books of the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation. And on the 7th or 6th of June, you will see the second book. And by making these books becoming a bestseller, reaching it head up to the top of the what they call the bestseller books, we are introducing the technology to new groups. Now you will see the Keshe Foundation book 1 this week has reached to one of the bestsellers categories, and now in the next week we will see the book, what we call the Corona book, is set to become another bestseller by the end of this month, or by the end of next month. And this way we are spreading the knowledge. And the interesting thing is, what our promoters see is people are coming back reading book number 2. They're looking for number 3. And they're educating themselves. And this is one of the best things which happened to us. And that's thanks again to the work of the Universal Council members and knowledge seekers. That path was brought into the foundation. And yesterday I was talking, they tell us we already achieved one category, and now they're going for a bigger structure. And as we covered the scientific world, more scientists come to understand that the knowledge has shifted. And this brings more understanding of the totality of the knowledge. We have changed our position. I've said many times, I have found peace, I have found pleasure in a lot of things, and that has brought me the opening of the technology in a totally different way. And we see new people, new organizations. Now they come to learn, and maybe the Corona was best thing happened to us, because we don't see many shoppers on the street. Everybody is home, and they look for new ways of elevating their knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Same to you. Have a nice Swiss chocolate.
Yes, thank you very much.
There is something interesting talking about Switzerland and Germany. There is a group who has organized 2 conferences, 2 seminars for 2 weekends, and it's all about the Keshe Foundation, and it's all about the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation. These 2 groups is nice to be there, but I know you're listening, some of you who have organized it, you're charging €130 for the weekend registration, whatever. You need to get the permission from me to use my name in the conference, and then we have to know what you are doing. We advise you to get in touch with the heads of the foundation for these 2 conferences you're setting up in July and August. I don't like to see my name used the way you have used it, but it's nice to see You're trying to spread the knowledge, but advise us what you're doing. Maybe we can support you and give some credibility to your conferences. But don't go out and just set up conferences and use my name and my pictures and everything else to do with the technology that we get told from outside before we are informed that you're in this position. We have a conference, as you know, on the 20th of July in the city of Bucharest, once on after July 7th or whatever the Romanian group knows what capacity of people they can allow into the conference. If you like, and if you use possibility, we don't need to be present in the conferences physically. We can give you credibility and join you on that screen or share knowledge with you in your conferences. We try to be in there as much as possible to support the knowledge seekers, but don't abuse the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation or what we call the wrong way, but share the knowledge in the correct way. We support you. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We've got questions in the chat here that perhaps we can address. First one is from Viviana, who says, hi everyone, hello Mr. Keshe, and thank you for this beautiful teaching. I'm an Italian knowledge seeker. Ricardo has this question. What is the relationship between the individual energy of human beings and the events of the planet? And the second part, how can we interact to eliminate the evil that affects the evolution?
The answer to both of them is nothing to do with each other. And it's just a state of mind, both of them. Next question.
Okay. Marius asks, hello everyone. Mr. Keshe mentioned something very important about the heartbeat, importance of the heartbeat in order to create lift and motion. Is this like matching your heartbeat to the heartbeat of the place you want to reach in order to get there?
That's what the idea is.
And can this heartbeat be displayed in numbers like GPS coordinates?
I was waiting for that.
Or is it just a concept, something that we just feel, detect, and understand with our soul? Of course, everybody wants that magic gauge or device that'll point us in the right direction. But the thing is that their direction is inside, I believe, not outside. So that's where we get confused.
You and I are old enough to remember the word. It says, return to the sender. There is no such address. You remember the song?
Yeah, very much.
Very much so. The way to understand it or answer this question is very simple. Have you had a dream about your mother, your brother, somebody you know, or somebody you wanted to be, and you went there during your dream or when you're awake and you wanted to be? If you have, in the past, let's say, not a day, not a week, in past 10 years or past from the time of your birth, such a thing had happened to you, did you ask for GPS position of your soul to be with the soul of that person or the place? What it means, in the world of creation, we don't have GPS. If you could manage to have the dream about your dog which died when you were 3 years old and you're 93 years old today, it means you still have a connection and you know where it is. The GPS of the soul of the man is in the structure of the will of the man, the emotion of the man and the need of the man. So next time when you ask if you have a system for GPS, can you please give me the GPS where, in which dream you saw your mother who passed away 30 years ago? Did she leave a GPS address to meet her at that position that you had a dream of? Then we understand there is no GPS. It's the will of the man. Understanding the structure of the life of the man. Man has become too physical. GPS, you can have it in your car. Souls don't have a GPS, know exactly where everything is. It's you who has to take it, wish it to connect that line, that position and the place. Any other question?
This idea came up in the plasma reactor group yesterday, and we were talking about the idea of darkness and how we rely on our sight so much to get around as humans and to interact, and everything we do is relying on the light rays that are hitting our eyes to judge where we are. Mark gave the example, he went down in his own basement, which he's been in the house with that basement for 20 years. And he got to the bottom of the stairs and realized his flashlight didn't work and the light switch doesn't work from the upper part. So he went down into the basement to get to the other light switch, but it was pitch dark and he couldn't see anything. There was not even a hint of light. And then he got lost in his own basement because he got disorientated, and he thought he was in one part of the basement, and suddenly he felt the stove, and he thought he didn't even know what it was at first. And that was at the opposite end of the basement to where he thought he was. And we were talking about other examples of being in the dark, and sometimes we have to rely on our sensing, on our field sensing, or sensing of the fields more when we're in the dark. An example is someone who's blind, for example. They might feel someone's emotions that comes into the room more than other people that have their eyes on that person. So what is it? It seems like the less distractions we have, the more connected we can become with our sensing and with our soul connection, it seems.
Have you ever played the game that you blindfold yourself and you touch a person to say who they are, their face?
Right, yeah.
But
yeah.
the beauty of it is not that you feel the physical feature of the face, but by touching it, you feel the emotion of it too. So emotion doesn't need what you call sight to see. And we feel that emotion through the touch. But again, if we can feel the emotion through the touch, not through the eye, we see somebody crying, we see somebody laughing. But when you don't see and you touch the face, you feel they're laughing, you get their emotion of joy or whatever. How does our body recognizes that? Because it's touching the skin, it's touching the physicality. When you touch a stove, you don't feel if the stove is happy you're touching it or not. Or does the stove say, oh, thanks God you're here, I was in the dark, somebody's here that I can touch me. And this is what is the beauty of when you see through the soul. You see the real joy, not the physicality, and not the physical dimension. And your soul will take you to these positions and dimensions. Man will do this. It's like last time when I said last week with a whiteboard. That whiteboard exists because the fields interact that way for us to manifest itself. How would we see a whiteboard when we are blind? I think man has been too blind to existence of his soul. And we shall see. if we can find a GPS machine for that matter. This is what I said many times in teaching. You have to choose if you want to go on a foot, a donkey, a car, a jet plane, a spaceship, or the soul. And each one of them has its own work and GPS and connection how to go. And so, in this dimension of the soul, there is no GPS facilities at the moment, because if it was a GPS, you have to use the physicality to be able to tell the soul where it is. Put it this way, we haven't seen any GPS system yet in the universe for those who have elevated to travel with the dimension of the field of the universe. If you've got a car, you need a GPS, otherwise you get lost. And again, your emotion has to do with it. For years when I used to live in London, I did something psychologically. Every time I went across the Waterloo Bridge, or I went through the London Bridge, on the south side of the bank, I used to get lost. I didn't know where I am. It was just psychological. The road never changed. I've been there, I've been here before, but I didn't know where I go. It was a way, I don't want to be in the south of the river, because I always lived north of the river. And to me, to go to the south, it was something I didn't want to do. And the body of the my GPS was the Thames River. It just all got muddled up. And it was interesting for me how just one river changes the mindset, and what we want to accept, what we don't want to accept, but it's the same place, the same water.
So Marius has a second question, which I think you've sort of answered, but perhaps again, would be, how can we get our soul in tune to the heartbeat of a certain place? Or does it tune automatically when you just think of it?
It's automatic. You got to practice.
And it's more than just thinking, because you mentioned there's emotional content there somehow.
Yes, this is part of the teaching in a much in depth, which we'll start teaching in the coming months, where I explained in a way that the mothers don't need to give a physical birth. You can encourage, you can promote, you can create a condition that the soul of the child moves outside the physicality of the body of the mother. And the mother has to accept that condition. That is the safe way to come, safe way to be. And then in the time when the physical dimension is matured, the soul of the physicality will follow the soul of the man. And this needs maturing, this needs nourishing, this needs to be taught. It needs a lot of confidence. A lot of mothers will not be able to do this because they're afraid what happened, what do I do with this field in my hand? The only thing you do, you nourish it, you love it, you give to it, and you give it counsel that it's safe to be with me in this dimension. This is how births are given across the universe. We don't have delivery rooms in the universe. And we don't have hospitals. And we don't have a birth passage. And these are the things which we learn. The strength of the soul. We are able, needs confidence to be given confidence. We are able to carry that soul in the dimension of the fields and allow it the process. If the mother wants to give, it's like the one I said, you can walk, you can get a donkey, whatever. If a woman likes to give birth through the physicality of the man, it's still open there. But those who understand the process and have enough strength to trust to do the way we just taught today, to increase the level, the mother's soul of the mother becomes to the center and allows the soul of the child to move out of the womb. You will see a light. But the physical life still matures inside because he cannot live till it's ready. And this process of teaching will teach in the coming weeks and months, because we are in that process of creating the soul first, and then the physicality. And now because we have created soul, we can move the soul, and then physicality will follow. This is the way life is given in the universe. Mankind needs to learn. Otherwise, every woman gets pregnant on planet Zeus, we have to rush them back into Earth for them to give a delivery notes in delivery rooms in somewhere in one hospital in which city or which country, and then take them back again. This is part of what we said. You have to learn how to bring the energies within inside you to take charge over the outside, but trust that the both will exist together. And this giving birth through the structure of the soul will be taught us, and then you can choose the way nowadays you choose. You can give birth in the hospital, you can give birth in the house, you can give birth in the bath, you can give birth on top of the Himalayan mountains, whatever is your choice. But now man has a new dimension to be able to create the children of the soul, and then with the physicality. And because the soul is created first, then the mother, which is the supporter of that process, can allow it. It's like you take your child to a nursery, come, I'll take you to a playground. You took the physicality. Now we teach you how to take the soul. And when the soul is mature, and what we call the soul of physicality is mature in the dimension of physicality, that 9 months, 9 days, whatever it is, will become the prime of the process of delivery. And then you teach the soul of the child, and you find out you don't need a school. Because what you teach the child, the soul, in a way you give from the knowledge of the soul of yourself, educates and prepares the child for the whole of the universe, not sitting in the classroom adding 1 and 2. We are in that process. We are not going to be, we are already in that process. Now we're setting everything up for that process. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Dan. I'll try to get through here. It's he says, after years of watching and learning, I'm not able to answer this question. GANs that we
he's
create,
like us. We can't answer the question.
GANs that we create from the field magnet. Example, carbon GANs is from the physical element carbon and the element nanocarbon. It is made of CO2.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand the question really. It is made of CO2 of nano copper and zinc, but you can also make it from iron nano 53 and cobalt. What GANs are obtained from the fields created from one material and the nanomaterial of the same element, I guess is the basic question.
Can you repeat the question? You understood, but I didn't. So
I don't understand. I don't know what he means by iron nano 53 and cobalt making the same CO2 GANs or something like that. But if we go with the basic question, what GANs are obtained from the fields created between a material and the nanomaterial of the same element? Is there a general answer to that, or is it specific to each?
We always get new materials from different interaction of 2 different fields. You get the CO2 from interaction of the copper, nano, and the zinc. But if you keep the same copper nano and put the copper, you get the release of the atomic structure of the matter of the copper. When you create interaction of 2 different materials, you usually end up with the plasmatic field of the what we call gases or other things which are not the physical dimension. When you use a nano material with the material of the same, you produce the GANs of that material, like the copper, you use the copper and non-nano copper. And this is how it works.
So
one creates the fields of the matter of the common denominator. One field produces the gases or a condition of the plasma which does not exist in singularity in the structure of the material. You usually create the difference between the two.
So in the case he mentions of the iron nano 53 and cobalt, maybe that's, he's thinking that would be the same difference as the nano copper and the zinc. So
yes, we taught that from the beginning. You don't need to have a zinc and a copper.
So you'd be making the same material? Or would it be?
Yes, you can still make a CO2, but in the strength of the iron.
Mhm.
Yeah. If, for example, you make CO2 in the strength of the zinc in our system, or in the strength of the copper.
So the iron one might be counterindicated for some health aspects. Is that true? Or would it be the same?
Can be, yes, but you have to know what you're doing, how you're using it, these things.
There could be side issues with venturing outside of the standard kind of.
Oh no, it's just so we don't venture, we don't learn. What we don't venture, we don't gain. But you have to understand what you're going to do with it. We got to understand what we do with what we create and why we are creating it.
Mm-hmm. So Dan goes on to say, between sulfur and nano-sulfur, what can we call that GANs? Would that be GANs of sulfur or?
Depends what your sulfur is and what kind of gases you expect to produce. When I produced the first CO2, I researched for nearly 10 years to be able to produce CO2. But once you learn it, you can do it, then the rest becomes easy. You just follow, but you have to find ways around it. Because in the original systems, I could produce CO2, zinc oxide, CH3, CO2, and all the few other elements in the same box. And you could see the conversion of the material to CH3 or the strength of CH3. We learned a lot. There was a lot was learned in this process of change and conversion. Next question.
Okay, we've got a question from Achilles the in the Q&A who says, I've been wondering for a long time that the drawings of splitting of the universe inside the third book of Mr. Keshe indicates that the position of the soul's in the center of the plasma. But why in the physical world the soul of a leaf or a feather is at the tip of the leaf or the feather? Why the soul of a dog is at the tail end of the dog? Thank you.
I don't know, is it?
Really, maybe you'd have to ask the dog whether its
The
soul
dog, where
is
is
in
your
its
soul?
tail. Does the tail wag the dog's soul, or does the soul wag the dog's tail? What about the soul of the leaf? Would that be at the center of the leaf, or at the edges, the tip of the leaf, or all of the leaf, or how does that work?
It is constructed in a different way with the verticals. And this position is dynamically positioned within the central, what do you call it? There's the central beam, the vein. What do you
The
call
vein.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other question, or shall we call it a day? I think we thought too deep today and you enlightened too many people.
Okay, yes, we can go on with questions forever. So we can always use that, leave that infinite number of questions till next time around.
Thank you very much for today. I hope you, but no way together we learned something new, and hopefully new developments will come out of it. And as we said, we need to expand the knowledge, make it available to everyone as it can be done. And our new center opening up, we need volunteers to be able to, or not volunteers, even people who can run the structure. We're developing, and we need new people who can be part of to run these structures, or we look outside to bring in and carry on with the development. Thank you very much indeed.
Mr. Keshe, there is one thing perhaps we can address. I see Liliana has her hand up here, and she had a topic of that she wanted to say something about, and she put it in the chat here as well, I believe. Just can't find it offhand. Let me see. Oh, there we are. It's about the calling on knowledge seekers from around the world to spray the plasma water and generate the Dome of Peace next Sunday as a special Zoom meeting for that. So perhaps we can hear briefly from her and
there is a knowledge seekers. Yeah, the knowledge seekers are working to bring the scientists for the Keshe Foundation TV. I think there is a couple of handful of the scientists around the world have responded to participate in this. Please keep on extending it, invite as many. Now that the Keshe Foundation TV is found a permanent home, we try to structure that at least once a week or a couple of times a week, we bring world eminent scientists on these interviews, and we put it on the KF TV. KF TV now is start running slightly better than before, and it'll pick up and we build up. And in a very near future, we bring, once we start understanding a lot of things ourselves, to bring national television team supports to be able to create different environment and conditions. And so if you were in touch to bring the world scientists or for the understanding or explanation of technology or what we can find common ground, we start this from next couple of weeks, at least 1 hour a week, bringing 2 or 3 sports scientists on discussion table, how they see and how we can explain the new knowledge to them. Doesn't mean if they don't accept it, there's something wrong with them. It means they're not ready or we haven't learned enough to be able to explain to them the correct way.
As part of this presentation is to create the Dome of Peace, and specifically for the protection of all scientists of planet Earth as a special dedication toward that. But perhaps we can let her speak a bit about that. Can you say something, Liliana? She may need a translator, actually, who can provide the translation. They can put their hand up if they can do that.
Is it Italian or is it Spanish?
Be Spanish. There's John. Thank you, John.
Sí, Liliana, ¿qué deseas preguntar?
Hola, John, gracias. Buenos días a todos. Más
Good
bien
morning to you all.
es una invitación.
Liliana wants us invite all the people on Sunday on the second timetable at 18 or 6 p.m. Sunday for a special spraying. If everybody can sort of film what they're doing, the spray, and then this could be put together for the TV channel. Eso es lo que querés hacer, ¿no es cierto, Liliana?
Bueno, déjalo leo. Dice, el grupo hispano agradece el apoyo que tiene del Consejo Universal para realizar la siguiente invitación. Nosotros invitamos a todos los buscadores
Espera,
de conocimiento.
déjame. The UC, the Universal Council, is together with the Spanish group, is putting forward an invitation for next Sunday. Adelante.
Nosotros invitamos a todos los buscadores de conocimiento de todo el mundo que tengan una copa o una vida.
We invite all people from the world that have one cup, one life,
A una reunión.
to come along next Sunday. Sí.
A una reunión a través de Zoom con el número de sala 5193219996.
Eso es medio complicado. Eso sería lo ideal, que le pases el número
Sí.
a Rick para que lo ponga escrito.
Yeah, let me give the numbers here, which is Zoom room number 519-321-9996 and access code 984838. And that'll be May
Exactly,
30th.
yes.
I'll put that, I'll post
¿Cuándo?
that in other chats as well.
Yeah. ¿Cuándo quieres hacer esa reunión, Liliana?
El próximo domingo 30 de mayo del 2021 a las 6 PM CET.
¿No? A las
El
18
6.
horas.
Sí.
A las 6 de la tarde. Sí. This invitation would be in that channel, Zoom channel, at 6 p.m. next Sunday, for everybody to show worldwide the spreading of the GANS waters, as we've been doing for the last months. The second session of the spreading of the GANS waters, as the Brazilians started doing months ago.
Ajá.
So this
A
is
lot of people
the
are
invitation
doing it
put
around the
forward to
world. Yeah.
everybody to unite. Yes, but to unite on this channel so everybody can see and have the concept of how everybody did to do this work every Sunday.
And it can be recorded and then sent to KFTV
Exactly.
for them to use. So it'd be sort of a testimonial, basically. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So,
Okay.
well, you see the Universal Channel, the council already has been contacted, and they're sort of together with this.
Mm-hmm.
La idea también es que se abrirán las cámaras, todos abrirán cámaras para que también quede como testimonio, y pues también se les invita a que pongan una banderita de dónde son, de qué país son.
Ajá.
Y también se va a realizar una visualización para que en esa visualización se genere el domo de la paz.
Well, the idea also is for each one that's in the Zoom to open their cameras and with a small identification of the country they belong to, so people can visualize and see each person on the Zoom with their identification and showing what they're doing.
Yeah, you'll
You
need to
get
get the information from each person that shares as well, because they'll need to fill out a talent release form for their image to be used
fine.
in KF Every single person will have to sign one of those. So keep that in mind to make
Liliana,
sure they have the information.
cada persona va a tener que firmar un permiso a la televisión para que sea publicado esto, ¿eh?
Ok, perfecto. Sí, así lo indicaremos para que nos manden
Entonces
sus permisos.
incluí eso en la invitación, por favor.
Ok,
I've told
sí,
her to
gracias.
include this request in the invitation to whoever comes along.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because that information would have to be collected. Otherwise, after the video is made and sent to KFTV along with the video, that's the way that procedure is now with that. So all that information,
Exactly, yes.
personal information, and the signing of forms and so on has to be done properly that way now. Okay,
Fine.
that's
Sí,
great.
Liliana, interpretaste eso.
Pero si me lo traduces, por favor.
Interpretaste eso, que cada uno va a tener que presentar una forma firmada autorizando la presentación a la televisión.
Ok, perfecto. Sí.
There is a small announcement, as just been sent to me. There is a presentation in a virtual conference this week at 9 o'clock Central European Time that is being held with Philippines. And this is the banner on the what do you call the advertising of the conference seminar. It's, I think, 2 or 3 day seminar. If anyone wants to join in, is like a 30 minutes, 40 minutes presentation of technology in this conference in Philippines, which we participate in.
When was this? Will this be today?
It's tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday, 8 o'clock, no, 9 o'clock Central European Time.
It looks like it's for 3 days. And
yes.
Do you know which day you're going to be speaking, Mr. Keshe?
Tomorrow, 28th.
Okay. Great. That's
now like all the conferences are virtual, so this is another virtual conference. And tomorrow night, actually tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock Central European Time, again, we are having a presentation in the Canadian radio or television channel that will be publicized afterwards. It's a live presentation on the station.
So we're getting through to the different media.
The knowledge seekers in the background and different groups are reaching us to do so.
That sounds excellent. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed.
And we'll find out about that after the show, or there'll be a recording of it, I guess. Is that the idea?
Yes. Yes.
We can't watch it live, right?
Which one? The Canadian?
The Canadian one.
I cannot remember. I just know I'm giving a talk in that meeting. And the details I don't have, because it's done. We haven't received a link from the station. We did the preliminary talk, and tomorrow we'll do it.
Okay, well, if you're able to, if the public's able to listen to it and you can get me the link, then of course we'll
can give it to you to publish it, yes.
Yep.
It is, it's known as, what do you call it? Let me just recall to bring you the name. I'm sure you in Canada know. Brandon V show.
Pardon me, Brandon.
The
Lee?
name of the show is Brandon V. It's at 4 p.m. CET time.
And that would be Friday, your day?
Friday. It's from Toronto. We'll release the details. Thank you very much. And we'll see
Can I have
you
a question,
hopefully soon.
Mr. Keshe, before you go, please?
Oh, that's good. He's one only. That's thanks God we can answer one question. There's usually two.
Okay, I make it two, no problem.
Oh, I have one as well. But
No, it is not really a question, only where we put it in a category. Okay, about the heartbeat, Mr. Keshe. We know the immune system, by its work, by its motion, it creates such a heartbeat. So where I can put this heartbeat, in which category? Due to in physicality category or
What? Can you explain again?
the immune system?
Yeah.
When it's work,
Yeah.
it creates motion.
Yes.
This motion create a heartbeat. So this heartbeat, in which category I can put it?
What do you mean exactly? What do you mean exactly?
Okay. You speak about the heartbeat of physicality and the heartbeat of the soul.
Yeah.
So the immune system, to which category it can relate it? In both ways?
Yeah, it's to the physicality.
It's related to the physicality.
Because it's from the physical side of the man. Immune is protecting the physicality.
Okay.
The soul doesn't have an immune system.
No, I mean the work of it.
It's the dimension of physicality.
Okay.
you mean like getting a fever and sweating and all that happening, those kind of reactions that the heart starts beating faster in that situation and so on?
Yep. Rick, I'll put the second one on the, what do you call it, on the screen. I'll share the screen.
Yeah, we see that.
Yep. That's
Okay.
the second time.
Back to the knowledge seekers. Funny enough, yesterday I was sharing a knowledge in the Spanish group, and they brought up part of workshop, and it happens, Mr. Keshe, that it is the 68th knowledge seekers workshop, and it happens also that it's the first time Alex came to this presenting for 2 days in this workshop, and he is actually the first heartbeat he made or presented in the workshop as a physicality. It was there in that workshop. So anyone would like to see that and to understand how he can create a heartbeat from simple device, he can go there. Okay, Mr. Keshe, so thank you very much. It was, you see, very short, and it was only one question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
And I have a quick one that I'd like to make up for Jalal with, which there was a question in the YouTube, and I had a question also. And it regards a new product that the Keshe Foundation store has, the new plant food and pest GANs. And people are asking for information, how far it goes or ratios, how to use it, and so on.
There is an instruction goes with this now. The sales arm of the Keshe Foundation start producing instructions when you buy it is in it. How to use it, the way to use it. Even the products we had before, which has been there for a long time, they're all getting instruction books. We're getting a lot of people with they're buying combination of the air unit, the vision unit, and the butterfly, we call it. These are all been given what we call instruction books, and you how to apply it and how to enjoy the use of it. Now the what we call the Keshe Foundation commercial side, which is now in the hand of Mr. Kazmir, is getting all set up. That you will see very soon all these pictures, some other pictures, all these videos, which now you see will change into what we call television level videos that will play, and it'll be on the Keshe Foundation television in the next 2 or 3 months as we develop it and get extension on it. And one of the beauty of the new location with the Keshe Foundation television being part of the exhibition center is that we can, in the teachings, when we have people in the studio, we can literally go along to the products. We can go to the enhancement unit, and maybe we can go to the floor where the enhancement units are placed for enhancing the body operation to talk to the people. It's a beautiful place, and it's on 2 levels, allowing to separate the what we call the teaching and the demonstration from the retail side, and it'll take shape in the next few weeks gradually, and you will see it. And amazing enough, the building, we've been lucky to be able to do this. So the commercials will change quite a lot with more explanation, not just pictures. And I've seen the first what we call tentative trials to make these like what you see in there, what you call the sale channels on television, basically shown how to use, demonstrated and explained. So in the next few weeks you see changes in the presentation and commercialization of the products of the Keshe Foundation as we put more and more products in.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, would these products be useful on a trip to space, let's say, for astronauts that went into physicality and were traveling for a couple of years in space to grow something to eat?
I'll give you a small insight. Our plan is to create a flight condition by 6th of June 2022. Our basic structure is that to create the interaction between the Chinese, Iranian, and American space agencies sometime in September, October. And as we have the technology fairly advanced, we will endeavor to create the first flights around about 6th of June of next year. If we can achieve it in cooperation with the government, it will be much better. We have a target for these dates that we're working on, and most probably by September we'll be in Washington, and we set the scene to start out a collaboration between the Iranian and American space scientists in Arizona, somewhere in the back end of or early back end of this year. So we have a structure to see, and we already have made one of the floors of the research center in China specifically for cooperation between Iranian scientists and the Chinese space technology. So we are endeavoring to bring more scientists into cooperation, and as part of our work, always Russians are with us. And so it's just how the group of the CBRU decide to siphon out what is achieved, what is done through collective work. And the Keshe Foundation of Iran with the support of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran and Iranian space agencies, gradually will set these things up. Our team in Iran are setting up the programs, all the programs for the Keshe Foundation. You will see all the websites, flight patterns, and everything else is getting done in Tehran by the Iranian elite, what we call computer scientists. They're working. I was just talking to them before I come on air today. So a lot of things is getting done in the background, and we push to the next level because there's a lot of data needs to be collected. So nobody has such a data of working with a flight system with plasma. And our experts in Iran, the team in the Keshe Foundation headquarters in Tehran, are literally writing these programs as we speak. And you will see a lot of changes in all aspects of the technology. And as I said, we are doing all we can for me to return to Iran by the end of June. And immediately everything is prepared by the Iranian Keshe Foundation and people who support us within the Sabah of Iran and what we call Iranian leadership. And then we push in the collaboration in the space technology with the Chinese and the Americans. And there's going to be a lot of rough time. We expect it because they don't trust each other. And the trust comes with the knowledge which we as knowledge seekers put on the table. And we'll see where we go. We keep it very, as much as possible, transparent, that we do not antagonize any side of the work. You got to understand there is a huge mistrust between the nations and how and who will use the knowledge for becoming a superior. But as the superiority sits in the knowledge of a space, I think our world leaders will change their position and respect how to use these technologies in what we call clandestine activities. So we're hoping that we have set a roadmap for 6th of June 2022 to create the first conditions for the flight into space in collaboration with Iranian space scientists, primarily the Americans and the Chinese and the Russians. And it'll be a collective. Failure does not mean we cannot do it. It means we have not understood the totality of it. But there is enough knowledge in the structure to achieve the first landing on the moon or Mars within minutes. And we are working in that direction. As I said to the Iranian team, I'm not coming to Iran to sit down and enjoy. I'm coming there to take man to space as rapid as possible. We expect to be in different countries, and there is nothing more what I call bringing confidence in the relationship than an Iranian nuclear physicist in Washington, White House, which we see around September, October of this year, to gel the peace. And we'll see if what we set out will happen. And from there on, we move to Arizona with American scientists and hopefully Chinese to start the first phase of the Hebrew operation of the space technology. Thank you very much for today. And we'll see what comes up and how we take things take shape with us. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much. I see that Canada is sending a rover, an unmanned rover, to the moon in a year or so as well. So that's an interesting development they just announced yesterday.
The Israelis tried and failed last year or 2 years ago. And the last minute doesn't mean that we get it right. We might decide to use a magnetic field landing on one side of the moon. We might land on the other side. We might create a condition that the system might land on the Mars. But in general, bringing the collaboration is the first objective of this exercise. The object of this process is to create not one nation to be superior, but all nations to be collaborating to bring that position. It has a lot of political implication. And this is why a lot of governments have problem with this. If you can go from Earth to Moon in 1 hour or 4 hours or within a minute, then you can see how many people will travel across this planet. And government don't like this disability, what do you call it, this lack of control. A lot of things needs to be brought in, a lot of things has to be understood. And I'm sure the science and the knowledge will spread very rapid. And nobody, I mean, in so many ways, we can't thank so much the work of Yusuf and the Iranian team, who are day and night relentlessly working in the Keshe Foundation headquarters to make these things happening. It's not easy. Moving a nation to become advanced space technology is not easy, but the Iranian scientists are bred for it. They're ready for it. And we see it as a point of rapid development. And you will hear from us most probably by somewhere in July. Teachings will come through Tehran to Iran National Television, where now we run the television in what do you call it, in Europe, in conjunction with others, and promoting technology through a peaceful nation. This is the objective of our work. And I'm sure we will have a beautiful results. But we have set a target. We hope we can meet this target 6th of June, 2022 on Moon. Now depends how the governments work with each other and how we put our animosities aside. Thank you very much. And let's see where we can achieve. Thank you indeed.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Keshe, for yet another delivered workshop here today. This has been the 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop on Thursday, May 27th, 2021. And we'll just take it out with a couple of instances from the Keshe Foundation store here. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's workshop, and we'll see you next week at this same time and place, as well as we have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central European Time, as usual, for that workshop. And the Universal Council will be there if people would like to hear from them and address them with questions. Okay, thanks very much, and bye for now.
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information. Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. KesheFoundation.org/donate